Hey guys, so today I want to answer some questions for viewers who were asking questions about the Lishi picks. Now, some of the questions I get are, hey Kilo, I come across locks, I use the Lishi pick, I pick over the lock and I decode it, but when I code cut my key and I know my machine is calibrated correctly, either it doesn't work or it's clicky or it's rough. What do I do? So here's the thing about the Lishi pick. Nothing is perfect in this world. So especially in the world of locks. No two locks are going to pick the same. Even if you buy them right now at the hardware store, you can buy a pair of Defiance right now from Home Depot, bring them back, and one will pick different than the other. It'll be in the same package, same box. But if you want a single pin picket, it might not have that same series. You might get a click out of one, and then on the other one, you'll get the first click out of three. So there are some subtle differences when they're milling these keyways out and these locks are being mass produced. So when it comes to the Lishi pick, this is designed for a specific quickset keyway in a quickset lock. When you come across the off brands, it may act a little funny. You might end up getting half cuts, or you might get the wrong code from the Lishi. So I want to show you an example of that right here. So this is a mortise cylinder. This is not from Quickset. I don't know who this is from, but I know this isn't Quickset. But it uses a KW1 keyway, and I have rekeyed it with a 3000th kit to the cuts of 13341. I did that because I keyed it up to this generic key that I have here, and I did that because it has the code stamped on it. And this isn't a Defiant. It almost looks like it would be, but it doesn't say Defiant. But it does line up. So I want to show you guys. This is 13341, and using 3000 bottom pins, we'll go ahead and insert this key, and it works smooth. No clicking, no friction. Works perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this here, and we're going to get an inside look at the Lishi pick and how it works. So let's go ahead here and pop out the core. We'll go ahead and set the housing aside. Now, with the key inside, and I'm going to lift up as if it's in the keyway, the weird thing about the KW1 keyways is, unlike the SC keyways like Schlage, these ones seem to just poke out just a little bit, but it's not an issue. The tolerance on KW1 keyways are usually a lot sloppier, so they do seem like they stick up just a bit. This is one of the issues when you guys are learning to rekey them. You guys will think that you're using the wrong pin because it's sticking up, but then you'll go to the next one and it's too low. So just as a heads up, the KW1 always do look like they're poking their head just above the shear line. But just so you guys can see, that is 13341 pins from a 3000th kit. Now let me show you, if you are, let's pretend that this is still in the housing and we just got to this lockout. We're going to insert our Lishi pick into the keyway, and we are going to just, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to not tension it, obviously, but we're going to go to chamber number 1. So you guys, let me grab a lockpick to point here, but chamber number 1 in this case is going to be this chamber here. So when I lower the arm to, I have it set here to chamber 1, we're going to lower it, and we know that our first cut is a 1, so we're going to get down to, there is a 2, and then we're going to go just below the 2, and we get it to where it's sitting flush where it would sit with the key. That's a little bit below the 2. So in Lishi terms, when you go below the cut, usually it's going to end up being the 1. So If it stops at the 2, it's a 2. But if you go a little bit below, it's a 1. However, when you're decoding this, it looks still like it's a 2. And then you might go to your van and code cut that to a 2. And then you go to put it into the lock and it just doesn't work. So let's show you. We'll go to the second one. The second cut is a 3. We know this, but we're going to go to chamber 2. So now you guys are going to look here at chamber 2. So we're going to drop the arm down and we're at 4 and just a little bit below 4, it's going to pop up. Now from here, it looks like it's a 4 and it's going to, decode. It's going to look like it is. You're going to, if you were to take out the core and do this and go down to a 3, it's going to look too high. So, but you're going to be here. So this may be your problem. You might be decoding it a little bit too deep. So what I would do if, and I come across this all the time, when you want to, recreate their old key, if you go through and, you could do this the whole way, and this is how it looks inside the lock when you're picking it with a Lishi pick. This is how it looks when you're picking it with anything. But you see that's chamber 4 and chamber 5. Now chamber 5, again, we're down to the 2, but we know that that cut is a 1. That is a number 1 pin from Quickset. So, or from my 3000th lab kit for the KW1. But the cool thing is that this does put you right on the correct chamber. So, if you're here, you're not getting anything. Let's go here. So that's actually being pressed up by the arm. So let me give you an example here because you guys see it raising. So when I'm pressing that up, this is going up, but the pin is being pushed by, where's my pointer here? The pin is being pushed up by this part of the arm, not this part. Now it's starting to get pushed up by here. So you're not really on the pin, but you are pressing it and you're going to actually get some clicks where you might think you got a click out of 4. You're actually just using that arm to get a click out of 3. So sometimes that happens as well. But just as a heads up, if you are coming across lockouts with the Lishi and you're picking it over perfectly, but you're decoding it and it seems a little bit off, and it happens a lot with the KW1, especially because a lot of those, they're going to be like Defiant, or they're going to be some of these other locks that are from overseas that use KW1, but everything's just a little bit off. But just to show you, this is a professional 3000th, lab kit. These are the correct pins for the KW1 for a Quickset, if you're rekeying a Quickset, or a Defiant, or whatever it is. This is the cuts. It even, this actually does come up. I even have a key gauge here to show you guys. So we're going to go to our Quickset just to show you. That first one is a 1, and then the second one stops at a 3, 3, 4, can't go any further, and then a 1. Now, sometimes you get some of these generic keys and there's still a little bit of a gap and they almost want to go to the 2. I could see that, being an issue, but this one is dead on. So I just want to show you, if you are coming across a lock and you decode it to 24452 and it's not working for you, try and just go 13341. If the first cut comes up to a 5, go ahead and, cut it down to a 4. If it comes up to a 6, cut it to a 5. So try it the first way. I mean, it's just a key blank. It's not like it costs you anything, but try it out. Also try it several times before you just hand that key to them, especially if they've misplaced their key somewhere and they're locked out and they just want a key remade because they have a ton of locks and they don't want to pay to rekey them all, try it, 5 or 6 times, and then pull the key out and then try it again, and then pull the key out and try it again. Because what you're doing is you want to loosen up those pins and you want to make sure that that is decoding it correctly. Because it could work, 4 or 5 times. You pull out the key, you put it back in, and all of a sudden you get like you insert the key into the lock, and then all of a sudden it gives you a little bit of, it's fighting you, or you'll have to shake it, or you'll get a click all of a sudden. So that means that now it's settling down and you're actually seeing that it really wasn't a 2, it was actually a 1. So that is something to watch with the Lishi picks. I was trying to make this video a little bit shorter, but I want to explain it to you to make sure that you understand it and that I'm answering this correctly to everyone that asked. Also, just as a heads up, you see this a lot on the M1 Lishi as well, but if you get here and it's a 6, then obviously you're going to cut that to a 6. But if you go down just about here, usually that becomes a 5. So if you're decoding it, like, don't try to force it down when you're decoding it. But if you notice that it drops about here, but it's not at the 5, I always cut it to the 5 and then I just see what happens. That's my method, because you can always cut more, but you can't bring back the brass on a key. So for instance here, if I cut this to a 5, if it's in the middle and I cut that to a 5, this is in the middle and I cut it to, it's supposed to, between 5 and 4, I'm going to cut it to a 4. Then if it doesn't work, I still can put it right back in, use the same key and not, destroy a second key. I could just cut them down one more step. And then all of a sudden it works out. So don't panic when this stuff happens. It's just part of locksmithing. But if it's a little below the line, obviously just always cut the lower, well, in this case, the higher number. So, if it's between a 2 and a 1, cut it to a 1. If that doesn't work, you can always cut that 1 to a 2. But if you cut it to a 2 and it doesn't work, you cannot bring back, the key to, now bring it back to a 1 cut. So I hope this actually gave you guys some insight into how the Lishi works. It's pretty cool to see how they pick open inside. But if you were having trouble or struggling, that is really common. It's also common with the M1 as well. So if you come across an M1 that you're for some reason trying to remake the key, if it looks like it's between a 3 and a 4, you're gonna go with the 3. So just always do that. I've found that works anytime I'm messing with those. Usually I do those for videos and content, but for the cost to have a locksmith do that, you might as well just buy a new master lock. But honestly, that's I think that's the right answer that I'm giving you guys. So hopefully you guys learned something from it. And if you did, feel free to, like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps out the channel. And I will catch you guys in the next video.